What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video. Today we're going to talk about the Striker's chest piece and should you be using it? Is it the best in slot? Is it not the best in slot? Does it do the most DPS or does it not? And there's quite a few reasons why you probably shouldn't be using it, but there's also quite a few reasons why you should. And that's what we're really going to go over today. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Come and check me out live on all my channels, Twitch, YouTube lives and on Kick. And if you need a community Discord because you need some help with the Division, whether it be incursions or raids or anything like that, make sure you hit up the link in the description down below where you can join and we can help you through all of them things as well. With all that said though, let's get straight into it. So I've seen loads and loads and loads of comments and loads of videos where people said just use the Striker's chest, it's the best in slot. And I was on live the other day and it was a newer player said to me, Tickle, why are you not just using the Striker's chest piece? Because he saw me change my build to this one here that you can see. And I kind of run this for, you know, heroic content, the opening section of the incursion, pretty much anything really apart from really hard content, aside from legendaries, parts of the incursion, and parts of raids, and we'll go over why in just a minute. And if you're wondering what the kind of stats this comes out at, you can see here 59% crit chance, 166% crit damage. It's fully min-maxed out with my 24 Oreo, and if I wanted to change things around a little bit, I could slide my St. Elmo into this, give or take a few mods to make sure that the crit chance is as high as, you know, as close to 60% as possible, and I would run the same build. Now, the question is, why am I not using the Striker's chest? So there's a few different things that go on in the game right now and the current meta that where we are. Currently, we are more powerful as agents than we have ever been. And content hasn't really got any harder. That includes the incursion. Although the incursion has some nice tactics around it and stuff and things like that, the enemies aren't particularly any harder to kill than anything else that we have in the game. You know, a legendary elite is pretty hard to kill. An elite in the incursion, pretty hard to kill. But as long as you're min-maxed and you've kind of done your research, pretty much everybody at this point in the game is taking down an elite within one magazine. If you're not, maybe your build's just not quite ready for doing that content. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what it's a looter shooter. We're all here to grind the game and get better stats and basically throw them into the optimization bench and, you know, max them out. As you can see here with this group or chest, I have to optimize these two pieces. So what I'm about to say though actually stands out even more. So if you're not min-maxed and you are newer to the game and you do put on the Striker's chest piece, you actually get put in even more of a disadvantage in certain content. And I'm going to talk to you now why. So you can see here, this is just an invulnerable elite. We'll talk about damage numbers and things in just a minute, but we're going to look on how this build actually works. So you can see here, I shoot the chest and there's two bars at the bottom. Off one magazine, the Striker's bar was just about 45%, and off two magazines, it went to about 90%. It was very, very close to absolutely maxing the bar. And that's, you know, guaranteeing that you're hitting the bullets. If we watch Obliterate, one magazine, it's about 90%. Two magazines, it's easy there. So you can see that I can get to maximum stacks on this build, you know, probably within two elite enemies. Now, the only time you're going to really come across two elite enemies is probably in the raid, is in the incursion, is in, you know, legendary missions. Even if you run heroic, you come across reds, purples, you know, and high end and bosses. So they're going to die most of the time before you get a chance to get anywhere near the full stacks on the build. And what we're going to do is I'll go out to a heroic mission and, you know, we'll go over that and we'll show that as well. So you can see that's how that works. And don't forget, we're in, you know, this guy in front of me is not moving. I'm not really going for his head either. As you can see, I'm at 5 meters. You know, you can see, you know, with this gun, I do miss some shots, but still, you know, quite easy to get to that max cap. Now, there starts to be a trade-off at this point now. So if I switch into this, I can put a group or holster on. Just make sure the stats look good. 59, 166. They look great. We've got mods and everything. Okay, so we've got, you can see the striker stacks there are wearing down, because when it's below the 50% marker, it actually slows down significantly. And it's quite easy to keep the stacks above 50%. So watch this now, right? So we're going at about 20. It looks like it doesn't want to lose them all. But we'll go now. So you can see it. 1 magazine, 2 magazines, 3 magazines, 4 magazines, 5 magazines, and it was still not quite there. So we know it's going to take us at least 6 magazines, because we started at about 15% as well, to get to the top end of the damage with a striker's chest on. Now in a heroic content, in a certain area, you're probably only getting 10 enemies max before you're moving on to the next stage of that area. So we already know quite easily that we're probably never going to get to the top of the magazine unless we come across a chunga, a dog, or, you know, something particularly, you know, a bunch of elites, something quite particularly difficult. So that already kind of sets the standard into where you should be using the striker's chest. Is it the best DPS in the game? Absolutely. But only if you can maintain the stacks, you know, above 50-60%. If you don't, at that point, other things are going to start to win out. So for instance, when we talked about obliterate before, you can see here now, obliterate's right at the top there already. Strikers is at the top, and in 3 magazines we're doing 813, you know, to the body, which was, you know, really quick to get there. You know, 821 to the body, and we're pumping over a mil to the head very quickly within 2 magazines, you know, really quickly. The problem is going to be is if I do a little bit of switching and we switch to back to this, I'm going to flip back into the group or holster. I'm nearly there. There we go. And so I'm 3 magazines in before I'm getting to that same damage, and keeping them stacks at, you know, 70% plus is not an easy feat in majority of the, you know, general content in the game. And like I said before, there is exceptions. There's the incursion, there are raids, you know, there are legendary missions. So there's definitely exceptions, but for day to day, you know, control points running around the map, you know, general probably DZ work if you're just going with a PvE build. If you're doing heroic missions, you're probably missing out on damage. And, you know, if you, there is other options that I know people love to hate. We could run the good old glass cannon and put a striker's holster on here. We're at 59, 127. We're missing a crit damage mod. We can just slide that in real quick. Now, so obviously Obliterate does have a stacking mechanic, just like Strikers has a stacking mechanic. You've got to wait to get to the top end. Now we've only got one stacking mechanic. We've just got Strikers, and we know with the chest piece we can get the, you know, pretty much within 2 mags. One, you know, and again, instant higher damage. The numbers we started off at were higher. Now, although at the top end they're not as high, they're higher throughout. So the, you know, the per magazine damage is, you know, the burst damage is just quicker. You know, you're just killing things quicker. So although you're not seeing them higher numbers, you're seeing a sustained higher number from start to finish, and therefore you're going to kill things quicker. Now, obviously not everybody likes to run glass cannon, and that's why I would always recommend Obliterate, because you're just going to see higher numbers from the start of the magazine, and although you're not going to see them right at the end, it doesn't matter because your stacks aren't going to be 90+% all of the time. So better to have higher damage numbers from 0% to 70 perhaps than to just to see them when you're getting above 70% of the stacks, because because you're never going to be there for that amount of time unless, like I said, you're doing, you know, much higher damage. So let's put this into some practice now. So we're going to switch to this. We're going to check our stats are good. 53. Okay, so we need to change a mag one. Oh no, we need to change this to Grupo. Change that to Grupo. You know, that's great. And for instance, like, you know, so this is what we're going to run now to test it. But if we went into my loads out and we looked at this build here, you can see this is a build that I would use in the right fight. I use this at the tanker fight because there's so many enemies all of the time. My stacks are 70 plus all of the time. I use it, you know, I use a slightly different one for the lovebirds, and for right. But again, you know, same principle. I'm using this because I can keep the stacks up so easily in them situations. So let's take this to a heroic Lincoln Memorial. And I think hopefully the message is kind of come across what I'm trying to get at here. Yes, the Striker's chess piece is excellent and it does super, super great DPS. But it is definitely, you know, a multi-build game. You know, it's great to have in your repertoire, you know, but a high-end chest with Obliterate or Glass Cannon or maybe even Spotter. Again, Spotter's instant damage, you know, no stacking mechanic or anything like that. You'll generally kill things quicker. And the problem you're going to see here is kind of twofold. The stacks won't be ever higher than 50% for majority of the fights because the enemies will just be dead. And that you know, that also causes me a secondary problem, is that I'm just killing the enemies just too quick. And therefore, I don't have enough things to stack, you know, stack on. And the problem only then amplifies even more when I'm playing in a squad and, you know, everyone's doing the same. Everybody, you know, we're super powered up right now. Everything is being killed so quick, I've nothing left to get, you know, stacked on.
We need you to secure the memorial and remove the True Sun's forces.
So if you're doing heroic content, open world content, CPs and stuff and things like that, just think about what chess piece you're using. You can see the look at the Striker's chest right now. And I'm purposely going for you know, body shots here. There's no need to call my headshot damage. And there we go. We didn't even breach 50%. And therefore we're just doing lower damage across the board. If we'd have used a high-end chest, we'd have just done more damage in that section quicker and we'd have finished the area quicker. You know, and then putting less need for survivability into a build as well. We can just afford to run all red because we can kill just that quick. You know, easy pickings at this point. You know, we're even be able to keep them in the doorway. So, you know, we're not missing any shots here. And not all missions are this easy. And again, even with a heavy then at the end, we're still only at 50%. So therefore making it that the chest is, you know, we're losing out on 50% of a damage buff. We're just never getting it. There's a chunga at the end of this section, which will be interesting to watch. Now I'm doing it fairly quick as well. It's not like I'm going like, you know, in slow motion here. There is obviously the RNG of the enemies running around and where they decide to hide on any given day. But we get some high ends here too. Ow.
Vital signs critical.
Yeah, good tickle. Who's behind me? Oh, they're underneath. So yeah, so we'll just chest him rather than go for the weak point. And you can see now this is great. I got my stacks all the way up. And there we go. And so now I'm ultra damage mode right now. But it took a chunga. And now, you know, I'm losing damage. it took a chunga to be in the mission to actually be able to get the stacks anywhere near. And you know, okay, so when you get to the end for a boss, maybe switching the chest piece if you feel like you need the extra damage. But in reality, it's just not sensible play. Now what we'll do, we'll continue just for this next section and we'll switch to this one. And what you'll see is you'll see a noticeable difference, you know, in how fast things actually die. You know, and when I say noticeable difference, it's all give or take a couple of seconds. You know, it's not huge. You know, it certainly doesn't hinder you so much. But if we're talking, you know, at this point in their lives in the game, we're talking, you know, what's optimal for doing what, and that's where this topic kind of comes in. You know, these are the red bars, you know, on heroic. But I mean, you can already notice that, you know, I'm killing more in one magazine. There's a noticeable difference on how much quicker the enemies are dying. And looking at the stacks, you know, I was top end of the striker stacks. I was top end of the obliterator stacks. It just makes more sense to use both. You know, don't stick by the rule of thumb that the strikers is the best in slot. It certainly is in some situations in the game, but in others it certainly isn't. Salute to Shooter. We've not got that much stash space, but I shouldn't have said that. We've not got that much stash space, but it pays to have both. Definitely, you know, get both in your repertoire. Switch depending on what it is that you're actually doing. That's going to be it for the video. I hope that made sense to newer players, as well as, you know, maybe some other players that, you know, just don't pay too much attention to this stuff and we play a little bit more casual. Hopefully it'll just help you kill things just that little bit quicker. Thank you so much for watching, agents. I appreciate all the support to the channel. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. It really does help me out if you're hitting that subscribe button and if you're hitting that bell so you are notified when I upload. I really do appreciate you. Come and check me out live on Twitch when I'm streaming, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.